Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. Oh God, guys, I just drank a large lemonade before my show and I feel really messed up. Wickedly sweet is an understatement. Thank you guys so much for finding this podcast by searching up Descendants and Zombies this evening and finding over 500 thumbnails, and fortunately enough you found this show. And you are in for a treat tonight. I just drank a frozen lemonade, and although I feel really screwed up, I'm going to offer my opinion on Descendants and Zombies, which hopefully you will find really funny and very entertaining. By the way, if you haven't hit the subscribe and the like buttons, you're going to want to do that because it will push this show further out into the YouTube algorithm. More fans of Descendants and Zombies can find this show, think I'm a fool, and hit the subscribe button. And hopefully they don't drink frozen lemonades before they decide to offer their critique opinions about Descendants and Zombies, which we have heard a lot of really negative reviews about, unfortunately for each and every one of you, and me more especially, because I was the biggest Descendants fan for the better part of the last 10 years, and when Zombies came along, I thought that fit very appropriately into the whole sci-fi thing that Disney was trying to put off by 2018. My heart goes out to each and every one of you who have seen all these videos of Descendants and Zombies on YouTube, because you're not really being offered the opinions that you deserve. You deserve much better than what you're seeing, and I will stand to that for forever and always take bullets for each and every one of you who are proud Descendants and Zombies fans, because I know how much these two franchises mean in their own rights to each and every one of you. They blew my mind over 10 years ago when Descendants first premiered with Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, and now we're getting it from the perspective and the eye point of Kylie Cantrell and Mila Baker, who look absolutely phenomenal as Red and Chloe Charming. I love the colors of Descendants. Very vibrant, very full of life, very full of exuberance. When you talk about a character like Ruby Rose Turner's character Bridget, who inspired us to make the most out of life and squeeze life to the last drop. If life gives you lemons, you just got to make lemonade out of it, like I just drank. And she did a phenomenal job as the character Bridget. I'm going to miss her in Descendants 5. And going into it, I thought she was going to be a part of Descendants 5, but I've been crying myself to sleep every single night since I found out that Ruby Rose Turner wasn't going to be a part of it. I saw some pictures today of the new character Pink, Red's sister, so obviously there's going to be some controversy between the two of them. Who out there hasn't had a quarrel with their sibling? I think everybody's had a quarrel with their sibling, but that doesn't mean that her sister is going to be evil, but one could assume that she's going to be the villain in this one, because if not of some of the mistakes for Red and Chloe, she probably would have never existed. You know, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. Me and my sister never really did get along. We still don't get along. But that doesn't mean that we're not family. You know, we don't talk a whole lot. She never calls me. But, you know, the thing is about family, you only have one family. And I know there are people out there that love their families dearly, love their parents dearly. And I love that about people. There are some families that are very close together, others that are not so much close together. But I think that we can learn a lot of valuable life lessons from Descendants that we can all take away with from the franchise and run away with. I'm really proud of what the writers and producers have come up with for Descendants. The music is absolutely beautiful. The music definitely conveys very powerful messages to their core, very beautiful messages that a lot of people have run away with. I have always wanted to be friends with Ruby Rose Turner ever since I saw her portray that character Bridget. I've been a huge fan of Ruby Rose Turner ever since her days on Coop and Cammy Ask the World. It was just a shame that show only had 2 seasons. That's all we got out of that one. That's all we got out of Gabby Dern and the Unsittables. So here come a bunch of Disney stars with only 2 seasons for their respective shows under their belts. Ruby got 2 with Coop and Cammy Ask the World. Kylie Cantrell got 2 with Gabby Dern and the Unsittables, and she had these reoccurring roles on Bizarre Records, Tessa and Jasmine on Raven's Home. I want to put it out there that I love these characters dearly because the messages they conveyed, how vibrant they were, how bubbly they were. They described Mila Baker's character Chloe Charming as one of the most bubbly representations of Cinderella's daughter that they could have ever done for Descendants. But they also received their fair share of criticism. People, criticized the color scheme of the movie, criticized the plot, but I think never enough time was given to it. That's the thing. You know, you just can't expect one installment of a spin-off from a very successful trilogy such as Descendants from 2015 to 2019 after having told the story and completed it. You just can't expect it to be, a 5-star rated production almost instantly. You have to give it time. And who's to say that the next chapter of Descendants, The Rise of Red, won't be as phenomenal or even more phenomenal than what the original one was? The original one was only 90 minutes. How can you tell a story with a lot of detail in just 90 minutes. You can't. But for the 90-minute production that we saw, being a theater kid all my life, they jammed so much in there. So with having jammed so much in there, there is still much of a story to be told because there are so many fairy tale characters that could yet to see their introduction into this one. I have never read any of the Descendants books. I just want to put it out there. I've never read any of the 9 installments of the books that have been put out. I would love the opportunity to read those books because they look lovely. I've been reading books for forever, but unfortunately I have never read any of the Descendants books. I don't know if any of you guys out there have read any of the books. I know 4 of them went to the top of the New York Times bestseller list, which is a huge accomplishment for that series. Probably not as successful as Twilight or anything like that, or Dracula or Alice in Wonderland from years ago, but I remember reading all those classic fairy tale books that movies were based off of. Disney did a phenomenal job. He really had a skill when it came to putting those movies out, but I would love the opportunity to read those books. I read Twilight, I read The Notebook, I read seemingly everything that I could get my hands on when I was a teenager, and I know that sounds somewhat uncharacteristic for a guy to be sitting behind his podcast tonight talking about how he used to read The Notebook and Twilight, but I did. You just haven't got to tell anybody that. I thought these movies were just so beautiful. I think I cried during every Descendants movie. Stop laughing at me. I'm somewhat of a sucker for these kind of movies. I loved Ruby Rose Turner's personality as Bridget in this one. I think everybody could learn from Bridget. Bridget was so lovely. She was so kind. She was so gentle. It's just a shame that the Queen of Hearts had to turn out to be such an evil person. I know she's a villain that really gets on everybody's nerves, and I can somewhat attest to that. I can somewhat concur with everybody's opinion on the Queen of Hearts. She was just one of those villains that I think had the sole purpose of getting all of her nerves, and she did such a phenomenal job doing it. She wanted Red to be so cruel, just as evil as what she was, but ultimately Red wanted to aspire to be something much greater than what her mother ever had intended for her to be. I think all of my life, my mom wanted me to be something ultimately greater than what I actually aspired to be. You know, one day I went to my mom, I said, "Mom, I'm going to start up a podcast from your basement." She said, "That sounds really stupid." I said, "I know, but that's what I want to do." And she said, "That still sounds really stupid." So about a year after I told her I wanted to produce a podcast out of my basement, I think she realized I wasn't going to do anything else with my life. She gave me the money to finance the podcast out of her basement. And here I am 30 years later shooting another podcast out of my bedroom after seemingly having done everything with radio after 27 years. It's funny how things happen. You know, your parents don't seem to be very supportive of anything you do, but at the end of the day, they still love you. And I like to believe that's what my mom has always believed. She passed away when I was only 19 years old. She never got the opportunity to see my YouTube channel get over 2,000 plus subscribers, approaching the 3,000 subscriber milestone. But I know she's watching out there somewhere tonight, so is my dad. And I think she's really happy that all of you are here, especially with how she was a school teacher for over 30 years. She pretty much gave up her life to the teaching system and aspired so many people to achieve greater goals out of life. I like to believe that I made my mom proud. Now, that's not without saying. That goes without saying that if I had a pocket watch, the one thing that I probably would do is travel back in time, pull a Phineas and Ferb, and fix some of the mistakes that I made as a teenager, and tell my parents probably more times than enough that I love them. There's a lot of opportunities that I would love to have had to go back in time and fix some of the mistakes that I found caught up within. But haven't we all made mistakes? I think we all have, even though we choose never to admit to them. I think that we've all made our fair share of mistakes and wish we had a pocket watch or a time machine to be able to travel back in time and fix those mistakes, because one can't expect to mess with the fabric of time and not expect consequences. Everyone may have gotten what they wanted in the end, to quote the famous Uma line from Descendants, one of the most famous lines out of the entire script. But that was a beautiful line, by the way. Being a theater kid all my life, having a hand in a lot of stage productions such as Phantom of the Opera and High School Musical, one thing that I've learned to know and appreciate about the theater is it is very difficult to create a script that can compel an audience. It's one thing to learn how to project your voice so the back of the auditorium can hear you. It's one thing to have compelling characters in a script, but if you can't write a script nor tell a story, you pretty much haven't got no theater or a career ahead of you, or no chance in the theater industry. I had a hand in a lot of drama festivals over the years. A lot of people would ask me advice about, being involved with the theater business. And the best piece of advice that I ever gave to anybody was that you just have to be yourself. If the audience loves you, they're going to let you know about it. If they hate you, they're also going to let you know about it. It's something that you really have to take seriously and really know that's what you want. I wouldn't encourage anybody who doesn't have a love or a passion for the theater to get involved with it. Same thing with dancing and choreographing, because there's a lot of underappreciation that goes with this, and you really have to have a love and an appreciation for theater. I had a love and appreciation for it, so I had a hand in pretty much seemingly everything. With theater, I attended drama festivals. I wrote a lot of stage productions like Dracula and High School Musical and Hamlet, and I enjoyed it. And the best piece of advice that I can give to anybody out there is that even if people think you're stupid for doing it, if you love doing it, more power to you. Because that's the best piece of advice I can give anybody. Just be yourself, and if they love you, they're going to let you know about it. If they don't love you so much, they're also going to let you know about it. But, that's the interesting thing about life. You never know what you're going to get out of life. Forrest Gump used to say that life is like a box of chocolates. You just never know which one you're going to get. And I think that a lot of people who aren't as fortunate as what Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner were to be these aspiring actresses have beautiful lives in their own right, and who's to say their opportunity is just not waiting to come knocking at their door. The truest thing that I've ever learned in life is, though, Disney's not going to come knocking at your door wanting you to be the spokesperson of their franchise. They're not going to come knocking at your door letting you know that you're going to be the star of Descendants. What you have to do is you have to go out there and you have to get somebody's attention, whether that be an agency, whether that be somebody who's actually involved with the Disney company themselves. You have to let them know that you're out there, and you have to let them know how passionate you are about whatever it is you want to achieve in life. I wanted to be a radio show host all of my life. My parents didn't necessarily, approve of it when I first approached them about being a radio show host, especially my dad. I wish you guys could have met my dad. My dad was like Kratos from God of War. If there ever was an opportunity for Dad to bring down that axe, oh man, he was bringing it down. And he was coming down on you pretty hard. He was like, boy, go out and get a real job. Boy, stop watching pro wrestling. Boy, stop watching Disney Channel. And there were more times than enough. Dad wanted to really kick my ass. But the thing is, if you want something out of your life, you have to go out and make the most of every opportunity that you are ever given in life. And I know a lot of you out there are going to do that, because if there's one message that Descendants has always taught us, is that every dream is achievable, no matter how unreachable or unachievable that dream may seem to be. Every dream is possible. Not everybody's going to agree with your aspirations to get out of life, but as long as you want to achieve something out of life, everything is possible. And I want you guys to know that I support each and every one of you in every dream that you've ever wanted to aspire to be and get the most out of life. And I say this because 20 years ago when I started my podcast on August 15th, 1999, out of my parents' basement. My parents' basement wasn't very big, but I hosted my podcast out of my parents' basement, even if they weren't supportive. They eventually became more supportive as the years went on. I remember sitting on my first podcast and talking about the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears being on the heights of their popularity. And I said to myself, no one's ever going to listen to that. And as time went on, I gradually built up a listener base, a fan base, and they continued to become more supportive, and I exploded. And here I am almost 30 years later on this new YouTube show talking about Descendants and Zombies for each and every one of you, because I wanted to aspire each and every one of you to either become a YouTube creator or to make something into your own lives. And I like to believe that I did that, because I offer very unique commentaries that separate my commentaries from the other commentaries you hear about, say, Descendants and Zombies, that, just pretty much say the same thing, reiterated over and over again. And the same thing can be said about all the interviews you hear Dove Cameron and Meg Donnelly dropping on podcasts. They're asked the same stupid questions. They're asked the same, they give the same stupid opinions. If you're going to create a podcast about somebody, what you have to do is you have to separate your podcast, your questions and your opinions away from everybody else. I really love the zombie script. And I say I love the zombie script because the zombie script was about acceptance. And I was a real nerd in high school. I never had a whole lot of friends. I was the Peter Parker of my class. I'd be the guy that was always missing the bus every morning, trying to get with a girl that never paid any attention to him. I was a real nerd. Guy with the glasses chasing after the bus until somebody told the bus driver to stop the bus, and everybody'd be laughing. And I'd be like, what are you looking at? And I'd sit down on the bus, and I'd read the comic book pages, the funny pages of the latest Spider-Man or Fantastic Four. That's the way I was. No girl would ever look at me. But you know, as time went on, I earned the respect of my peers and the people that I went to school with, because my aspirations in life was to sit behind a podcast microphone. I went to school, I learned my craft, and I financed my own YouTube channel. I may have had to sell everything I got and sell lemonade on the street at a lemonade stand on the side, but I was able to do it. And here I am 30 years later with over almost 3,000 subscribers who I think very dearly of, and realize that I wouldn't be here in the position that I'm in tonight if not for each and every one of you. Rest assured, as the sun sets on all of our lives tonight on this beautiful dusky evening, I appreciate each and every one of you for the people that you are, for hitting my subscribe button, and I can only hope that you keep coming back. There are a lot of really weird Descendants videos that you will find online. Not as funny as this one, but really weird videos that you will find about Descendants online. I remember watching people like Kylie Cantrell, Ruby Rose Turner, and Dove Cameron for what feels like forever. I remember watching some of Kylie Cantrell's very first YouTube videos. You know what she reviewed? She reviewed one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It was called Sam and Cat. I was heartbroken at the age of 25 years old when I heard that Sam and Cat was going their separate ways, and they only had recorded one season of the series because Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy couldn't get along. I heard it on a syndicated radio show at like 2 a.m. in the morning when I couldn't sleep. I was looking up at my ceiling and thinking I was a real loser, and then all of a sudden here comes this announcement that Ariana Grande and Sam and Cat were done. And I was really heartbroken over it. But I used to sit behind a computer screen, and I used to watch Kylie Cantrell on YouTube, and I thought she was so talented. I thought she was so talented, and I thought she was so lovely. And just as fast as I could snap my fingers, I said, Kylie Cantrell is going places with the help of her dad, who produced her YouTube show, because all of her other friends were making videos for YouTube. She wanted to be the same as all of her friends. Haven't we all wanted to be like all of her friends? You know, I was a guy who wanted to be a pro wrestler when he was a kid. And all my friends eventually wanted to become pro wrestlers too, before they ended up building washer hammers and working at laundromats and being construction workers and what have you. I still want to be a pro wrestler. Never had the opportunity to do it. I was a pro wrestling podcaster, but I never had the opportunity to wrestle myself. And just so you know, getting into the wrestling industry is never easy. So I wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless you truly want to make something of yourself as a pro wrestler. I may have to go back into the wrestling industry because from what I've been hearing on Cody Rhodes' podcast, he wants to have Sabrina Carpenter as one of his very first guests, and I may have to go kick his ass, but that's another story for another time. Sabrina Carpenter's a beautiful talent, by the way, too. I'd love to see her make a cameo in Descendants. Everything about Descendants was so cool. The message about Red's character was to always be yourself, even though your parents probably want you to be something ultimately greater than what you want to aspire to be. I have seen so many beautiful people subscribe to this YouTube channel with so many passions out of life that I wish I could only learn from. Some of you are dancers, some of you are figure skaters, some of you are singers. Beautiful, beautiful work. And I want you to keep up the best work possible and keep distributing the best videos that you could ever possibly put out on your YouTube channels. You are doing phenomenal jobs, and don't ever count yourself out. Because as soon as you count yourself out, everything seems like a waste of time. You are phenomenal and very talented people who are subscribed to this YouTube channel. I have never forgotten it, and I can only hope that you, yourself, as a person, never forget how talented you are, no matter how many times you feel put down or let down by somebody in your life, because we all felt that way at some point in our life. I'm sure Red's character felt really let down by her mother and her opinions of her, and that's why she wanted to go back in time and change the direction of her mother's character. And unfortunately enough for her, she did get the opportunity to do that, but will she feel the same way by the end of Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland, which will be happening in present-day Wonderland? There's no Ruby Rose Turner. Oh, I've got to cry. I wish I had a box of tissues. The thing is, I'm putting a call out for the Descendants cast to live with me. I want the Descendants cast to live with me in my house so I can pay for the cost of producing Descendants out of my backyard, which is fairly big. When I moved into this house, it was a beautiful house, beautiful landscape. I got away from all vampires and all civilization, and I moved into this house. It was beautiful, beautiful backyard, absolutely gorgeous, and I heard they shot Descendants in Canada. And I said to myself, holy shit. I would love for them to be here, living with me, and I would pay for everything because they are beautiful, they are talented actresses, and I would just love to get Ruby Rose Turner away from her crush on Justin Bieber she's had ever since 12 years old. I mean, let's be real. The only thing Justin Bieber is going to do is take her to Best Buy, buy her a TV if he finds that she doesn't have one, and set it up for her. Ruby Rose Turner deserves better out of life than a TV from Best Buy. I would take Ruby Rose Turner to Disney World. I would give her an engagement ring. I would propose to Ruby Rose Turner during the fireworks display. I would do everything but take her to Best Buy and buy her a TV. So hopefully she's over that, crush on Justin Bieber. I don't know what it was about Justin Bieber. I'm really proud of Hailey Bieber, though, for her, aspirations with her skincare line. It's called Rhodes. It's beautiful. She signed a $1 billion deal today. Justin Bieber immediately went to social media and praised her up for it. I was never the biggest Justin Bieber fan. I also was never the biggest Taylor Swift fan. And the chances of them making cameos in Descendants pretty much are still at an all-time high. But I was always a fan of the Descendants cast. I almost instantly fell in love with this franchise, and I very quickly realized why each and every one of you love it so much. And because each and every one of you love it as much as what you do, I give you my word, I'm never going to quit on each and every one of you, and I'm going to do my best to provide you with the best and very unique commentaries that you will ever hear on Descendants. Did I love songs like Wicked, Ways to be Wicked and Rotten to the Core and If Only? Sure I did. Did I love songs like Red and Get Your Hands Dirty and Life is Sweeter When You Are? Life is Sweeter When You Are is a song that has been stuck in my head for what feels like forever. It's a song that I seemingly can never get out of my head. I enjoy listening to it every opportunity that I get to listen to it. And if I could go back and experience the Rise of Red like I did the other night over again without seeing it for the very first time, I would. Because I really loved it. I thought it was a beautiful movie with a beautiful message. It wasn't so long as the original Descendants. I think the Descendants 3 went about 2 hours and 25 minutes. But because of the music, but this one may not have had much music or as detailed of a script, but that doesn't mean that it can't get better. And don't ever believe people when they say that this is the end of the Descendants trilogy or the Descendants story, what have you, because it's not. There's still a long way to go. There's still a very big opportunity to tell an incredible story with Descendants, and there are so many characters that have yet to make their introductions into the Descendants franchise. Where's Hercules? Where's Pinocchio? Where's Tinkerbell? Ask yourself that question time and time again, and eventually we'll see these characters and many more make surprise appearances in Descendants because there is still a long way to go. I studied folk literature for forever, so if there's one thing I know about, it's fairy tales, and you got to trust me on this. Happily ever after does exist. All you have to do is to hold on to that belief no matter how many times somebody tries to knock you. Happily ever after does exist. All you've got to do is believe in that theory, and that's something that I have never ever wanted to take away from anybody. Kylie Control can come here. She can blow up my kitchen cooking in it. Ruby Rose Turner can play PlayStation 5. I'll do anything to get her away from her crush on Justin Bieber. And we can have a whole lot of fun shooting Descendants 6. I don't know what the title will be. Probably The Pocket Watch, which what the Rise of Red was originally supposed to have been called. But I would love to produce Descendants because I think it would be funny. I would love to produce it as a TV series even. We could call it Oradon. I'll have more on that in the coming days. But I wanted to create this YouTube channel to have very beautiful messages attached to it. And one of those beautiful messages has always been that life isn't definitely sweeter when you are, yes, but we can never spread enough kindness in this lifetime, because I can guarantee you there are people out there tonight that are just waiting for you to give them that little bit of kindness or even offer them even the slightest bit of kindness to boost their morality in life. So what are you waiting for? Pick up the phone. Call that person that you haven't said I love you to in a very long time and tell them that. Whether it's a guy, whether it's a girl, maybe it's your best girlfriend, I don't know. But I can guarantee you, whoever they are, they're just waiting for you. They're just waiting for the phone to ring or to get an IM from you, a DM from you, because probably some people don't have phones and still use a computer, like this loser here. And you're saying to yourself, who uses Facebook or X on a computer now? I know. But stop laughing. Pick up the phone, send somebody a DM, tell them you love them in the message, because you never know how far some kindness can go in someone's life. It can really make a huge difference and make a huge impact on somebody's life. For this guy right here, I got to go out tomorrow and buy my own game chair out of my own money, because nobody's going to pay for it for me. My game chair is falling apart. As you can see, it's being held together by boats. So if Ruby Rose Turner was here, she could, probably bring her cool tools kit from 1997, and we could put together a new game chair tomorrow. Man, I miss Ruby Rose Turner so much. Can you imagine Ruby putting together a game chair? I think she'd be able to put it together a lot better than what I could. She is so talented. and incredibly beautiful. I love her dearly, and I love everybody who's ever said they were a fan of Descendants, and I love the Descendants cast. That's why I created this YouTube channel, to inspire other people to create YouTube, become obsessed with zombies, and believe that the potentiality of a zombie invasion is very evident. Which reminds me, the graveyard shift is coming up yet, and I haven't got my lunch packed. Woe is me. I always forget to do something. Guys, what do you say we watch this video of Kylie Cantrell? It's really, really cool. I think she discusses Demon in this, one of the singles off of her new EP. If you haven't checked it out, its details and info can be found on Kylie Cantrell's social pages and on KylieCantrell.com. If you haven't hit the subscribe and the like buttons for this YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it, so be a dear and do that. And thank you so much for finding this YouTube channel out of all the 500 thumbnails that you found on YouTube this evening. And what do you say we watch this video together?
Yes, we can talk denim. Hands on me when I feel my denim. Is it bad that I might just let 'em? Also, my bestie Shar made a dance to denim. Hands on me when I feel my denim. Is it bad that I might just let 'em? I need to hit it again. It's actually so fun. She's such a good choreographer. Shar Sheeran. Yeah, she made a dance to denim. That's so cute. You guys should hit it. But yeah, denim is all on the EP. It's all coming soon.
I want to take a quick moment to drop this over my podcast microphone. Why are people like Ruby Rose Turner being denied the opportunity to be an actress in Hollywood and being sent home crying? There is no need of this. There is no need of Kylie Cantrell being subjected to criticism because she's never been a Trump supporter. I have never been a Trump supporter, and I just want to put this out there. I am so proud of everything that both Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner have done with their lives. They have given up their lives to entertain each and every one of us, myself included. So I don't think they should ever be subjected to criticism, and that's why I've kind of opened up the door for them to come to live with me and shoot Descendants out of my backyard, because they have seen their fair share of criticism for forever. It's time for us to back off of them and realize that they are beautiful people, incredibly talented, and I think that's enough said right there. I never was a big Trump supporter. Can't say I ever will be. I think it's absolutely ridiculous how sometimes he acts on television. This is the President of the United States. And here people like Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner are being criticized for their opinions. I think it is absolutely ridiculous, and I think we have to give them the benefit of the doubt and really back off. I went on Kylie Cantrell's Facebook fan page today. I saw a lot of beautiful videos that Kylie Cantrell had thrown up in the way of teasers promoting her EP. Meg Donnelly's got one coming out in, I believe, June. So I'm really excited about that. So we got EPs dropping from Kylie Cantrell and Meg Donnelly. More info can be found on both Kylie Cantrell and MegDonnelly.com and D23.com for all the info on Descendants and Zombies. And just to let you guys know, I will be doing some more conversation about zombies in the coming nights on this podcast microphone. So if you care to join me, don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like buttons. The more subscribers I get, the further this YouTube channel will be pushed out into the YouTube algorithm. We can help people make sense of everything Descendants and Zombies. I have given my life up to these two franchises because I realize the popularity of them. I recognize that, and I also really appreciate the heartwarming response that you guys have given both of these franchises and this YouTube channel. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of all of your lives, and thank you for the better part of the last decade for allowing me to be the voice of Descendants and Zombies, because as far as I'm concerned, if it wasn't my voice behind this podcast microphone offering you my opinions on Descendants and Zombies, you guys wouldn't really care for it as long as it was Jonathan Clarke's voice. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for making me be the voice of all of your lives. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I don't know where I'd be without each and every one of you. Thank you for making me the voice of your lives, and we will do this again tomorrow night. So what do you say we take this opportunity to go spread some kindness in somebody's life who may need it? What do you say we go do that right about now? Bye, YouTube. We will do it again in a couple of days. So long for now.